Days of relentless rain have thrown Mexico into one of its deadliest disasters in recent years. What began as heavy seasonal rainfall quickly escalated into a national emergency, with entire regions submerged under floodwaters and mountainsides collapsing into deadly landslides.
No la vemos, yo creo que ya se fue hasta abajo, hay carros encendidos con gente.
Rivers across several states swelled past their banks, sweeping away cars, bridges, and even concrete houses. Hillsides saturated by constant downpours gave way without warning, unleashing torrents of mud and rock that buried homes and blocked vital highways. Official reports confirm at least 44 to 47 people have already lost their lives, but local authorities fear the death toll will rise as rescuers continue to search through mud and rubble. The scale of destruction is staggering. Streets in towns and cities have turned into rivers, swallowing vehicles and sweeping away market stalls. Families have been left stranded on rooftops, waving desperately for help as muddy currents rise around them. In rural villages, crops have been destroyed, livestock drowned, and farmlands turned into swamps, creating fears of food shortages in the weeks to come.
Mireu los coches, la cooperativa, les Fortes.
Entire neighborhoods have been cut off as key roads and bridges collapsed, leaving communities isolated with no power, no clean water, and no communication lines. Rescue crews describe scenes of devastation stretching across multiple states, proof that this is not a local crisis, but a disaster affecting the entire nation.
Les 7 de la vespre, el Barranquit.
For survivors, fear has become an everyday reality. Parents clutch children as they wade through chest-deep waters, while the elderly are carried on makeshift rafts fashioned from wood and plastic barrels. Many had just minutes to escape before the floodwaters rushed into their homes. In shelters set up in schools, gyms, and community halls, thousands of displaced residents crowd together. With little food or clean water, tensions are rising. Families speak of nights spent in darkness, with only candles or flashlights, praying the rain would finally stop. Children cry out in fear every time thunder rolls or the ground rumbles with another landslide.
No, que van tots en línia, eh? Això serà pitjor que allà baix.
Hospitals are overwhelmed, struggling to cope with a flood of patients, some injured from collapsing houses, others suffering from infections and waterborne illnesses. Doctors and nurses are exhausted, running short on supplies as more victims arrive each hour. And still, the rain has not stopped completely. Weather forecasters warn that further downpours could trigger new floods and landslides. In mountain villages already teetering on unstable slopes, residents live in constant fear that the ground beneath them could collapse at any moment. For many, the question is not just how to recover, but how to survive the days ahead. In response, the Mexican government has launched a massive emergency operation. Soldiers and rescue teams have been deployed across the hardest-hit states. Helicopters buzz overhead, airlifting stranded residents from rooftops and dropping emergency supplies to communities cut off by landslides. Boats patrol flooded streets, ferrying families to safety. Officials have urged all residents in high-risk areas to evacuate immediately, warning that unstable slopes could give way again if rainfall continues. At the same time, emergency shelters are being expanded to accommodate the growing number of displaced families. International organizations are beginning to coordinate support, but aid workers admit that with multiple states affected at once, resources are stretched thin. The government has called this one of the most severe rain-related disasters in recent years.
Porque el que graba no hace nada.
Experts say the floods and landslides are a stark reminder of Mexico's vulnerability. The country's varied geography, mountains, valleys, and coastlines makes it highly susceptible to extreme weather, which is becoming more intense with climate change. Stronger flood defenses, stricter housing regulations, and improved early warning systems are urgently needed if future disasters are to be mitigated. For now, however, the focus is on survival. Families huddle together in crowded shelters, grieving loved ones lost, clinging to hope that the worst is over. Volunteers, soldiers, and rescue workers push forward despite exhaustion, determined to save as many lives as possible. The next few days will be critical, as rescuers dig through mud and debris, as helicopters search for the stranded, and as rains continue to fall. The true scale of this disaster will become clearer. For Mexico, this is not just a fight against floodwaters. It is a battle to recover, rebuild, and prepare for the storms yet to come.